Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our NFL Draft Prospect Show, along with Vincent Turner, our co host and founder. Logan Landers is our producer and engineer. I'm Harper LaBelle, and we want to look at Jarquez Hunter today, a guy from Auburn University, War Eagle Hay, running back. He's third in the history of Auburn in terms of his yardage and records that he's been able to make as a running back there. He's listed at 5'10", Vincent. That means he's probably 5'8" and 3/4, probably. He's right there at 209 pounds. He's thick. He's tough. He's aggressive. He's strong. He can burst with just about everybody. We're going to go into some of those things right now, but this is a guy that's going to help your football team if you're looking to run the football. Tell me a little bit about Jarquez Hunter.
Tough football player, man. Been through some adversity over at Auburn. Look at all the coaching changes they've had over the last couple of seasons, from Brian Harsin to now Hugh Freeze. They haven't won a lot of football games either. But when I watched this young man play and Auburn played, he continuously ran hard. He continues to still competed at a high effort. And think about what he had to live up to. When you think about the running back position at Auburn, James Brooks, Joe Cribbs, Andrews, who we had on the platform, and William Andrews, your former teammate, talked about what it was like to run at Auburn in the competition. Brett Fullwood, Lionel Night Train James, the legend himself. Do I have to say any more? Bo knows who? Jackson, Connell Williams, Ronnie Brown, Rudy Johnson, Stacy Dansley. That's from Douglasville, Georgia, where I reside. This gentleman is what the epitome of Auburn football is, a real strong running back. And then when I look at Jarquez Hunter, I say it's a kid that can run between the tackles. He's athletic, but most of all, he's tough as nails, and his vision as a running back is special. Back to you, Harper.
I agree with the vision aspect. And what do we mean by that? Does he see well? Does he have 20/20 vision? No. His ability to know where other people are, and while they're moving, to be able to find a hole and create a lane, or to go through the lane that isn't very big, but it's going to get bigger by the time you get there, and avoid a lane that's really big right now, but by the time you get there, it's not going to be anything. Your ability to think on your feet while you're running full speed and make a right decision. That's kind of what I mean by vision. And he's certainly got that. Let's look at some of his numbers. This past season, 187 carries for 1,201 yards, 6.4 per carry, 8 touchdowns. He had 21 receptions as well. So there's going to be a real important factor that he's going to have, Vincent, in terms of his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He averaged 7.4 yards every time he touched the football when it was tossed his way. 1 touchdown, which isn't a whole heck of a lot, but he had 15 just in the last 2 years from a running perspective, and he had 1 as a receiver. I think that versatility is going to be a real factor that's going to be an important key for him, being a day 2 type guy, maybe a second or a third rounder.
When you look at him and you look at running backs now at the game, is that running backs are not, it's not for long in the National Football League. And that's a concern for some of the scouts because this gentleman runs so hard and he's a very physical player. But you know what? There was a lot of other physical players that came before him in the league and had a very successful careers. And when I look at Jarquez, he's like built like a bowling ball. And if you've been a football player as you have, Harp, it's hard to tackle those gentlemen right there. They got that steam and built low to the ground. He got a little bit of Joe Morris in him that went to Syracuse, a little bit of Troy Davis that went to Iowa State. Of course, the young man out there where you from, California, USC, Charles White. The man, Rob Lytle, University of Michigan, out to you, Mike Ken. Walter Umbercrummy, who I saw at Baylor, built similar to him. Man, was he a tough running back. And then, of course, we don't have to say anything about the man from Camden, New Jersey, Mike Rozier. All those gentlemen I just said, they were tough runners between the tackles, and it was physical, and it will bounce off you. That's what I see about this young man here. Any team that drafts him, he's going to be successful, and it's going to be an asset from day one. Back to you, Harp.
Yeah, well, he has been one of those guys that you give him the football and something's going to happen. the burst, and let me define that real quick, from you go to 0 to full speed, or from third gear to fifth gear, in the amount of time that it takes you to do that, that is a burst. His contact when he gets through the hole, his balance, we've mentioned his vision. He has an excellent jump cut, or he can adjust laterally. His agility on that side is second to none. There's some great things that this guy does once he sees where he wants to go. Put him in front of an NFL offensive line, a good one, and you'll reap some results. He's quick to create big plays, and he's a very good receiver, as I mentioned just a short time ago. Some of the knocks on Jarquez is that he's small. He is. He's not the biggest guy out there. So will he be able to take on a number one role in an NFL roster? And many folks say no. And I'm going to say right now, okay, if I agree with you, are you going to argue with me that it didn't work like a charm in Detroit, where you've got Gibbs and Montgomery, where you split those two, they're both happy? In Atlanta, you've got two running backs that don't share the time equally. It's not 50-50, but one spells the other. You've got lightning and thunder in a bottle. Would he not do well in that type of environment where he shares the running back responsibility with someone like that? I don't know what he's like as a pass blocker. I have to admit to you, with his size, I'm sure that's a concern, but Senior Bowls and Shrine Games and other opportunities, as well as the offseason, will play a big, important role for him to get a little bit stronger, work on his speed, and fine-tune some things that he needs to tweak in order to be that number one guy. But if he's not that number one guy, he will certainly make your run game a lot better. Imagine him going to Kansas City and getting a split time with Kareem Hunt or with Isaiah Pacheco, and then you can bring in this guy, and he gains 7 or 8 yards a carry. So he will benefit no matter where he goes. What else, Vincent? What have I missed?
My final comments about this young man, Mr. Jarquez Hunter, all you got to do is go to his game film this past season. 278 yards against Kentucky, 2 touchdowns. Texas A&M had over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Against the University of Georgia, he put 91 yards on them. Against the University of Oklahoma, 97 yards. And this was a football team, I believe, went 5-6 or 6-6. Very, very outstanding football player.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where he's going to fit in the order of other ranked running backs, and whether he's 3rd or 5th or 7th, and can he move himself up, or is somebody going to move in front of him? That obviously is going to come into play, but he's obviously in one of the most important roles that any NFL team would need help in. They all need help with running back position, and where he fits, we're going to find out here in just a couple of months when the draft kicks in. But he'll do some things before then to kind of set himself off. A record setter at Auburn, number 3 all time, as all the mentions of the great names in Auburn's past in terms of the running backs, for him to be mentioned among them. 12 games, he had 1,201 yards. It's not easy to figure out the math. He averaged about 100 yards a game, and if he does that at the NFL level, he'll be a Pro Bowler in no time. But we wish him well. We know that Jarquez Hunter at 5'10", 209 pounds is a little undersized, but you know what? He makes up for it with running hard. He has great heart, great versatility, and we think he's got a potential future in the National Football League that could last quite a long time. So for Vincent Turner, I'm Harper LaBelle. Our producer and engineer is Logan Landers. We want to thank you for watching 100 Yards of Football. This is our NFL Draft Prospect Show. We appreciate you being a part of it. Have a fantastic day, everybody.
Boy,